It's time for Giants Baseball Corner with your host. I'm out wearing a hat today. Let's see, here's one. It is the off season, my friends, and here's what we're going to do today real quick. I don't have any script. We said goodbye this year to Monte Jr., but not before he hit the 100th splash hit. This bobblehead actually has a water spout on the back for the splashes, which I've still never loaded. Now this is the hat after the pandemic when we couldn't go to the yard and we had to have those little posters of us at the yard. She can't really see it. Chair's in the way. And Lamont Wade Jr. the next year was part of that incredible 2021 season, the winningest record in Giants history. And when I went to my first game, nothing was open yet. There were no shops. But there was one little stand on the way out, and there was a dummy. You know, those styrofoam half-waist dummies that have clothes on? And it had this hat on, and it looked really sad and alone, this dummy. And I'm like, what's that hat? He goes, oh, that's been up there forever. No one's bought that. I go, give me that hat. And it ended up being the NL West Championship season when we went 107-55. And Lamont Wade Jr. had 5 walk-off hits that everybody was like, wow, Lamont Wade! And so he became called Late Night Lamont. So there's a little tribute to Lamont now that he's gone, as it were. A lot of people gone. And in Lamont's case, it was batting. He really struggled at the plate. Poor guy. I have footage of him on the site. I'm sure you can check that out. I can't get this to be straight today. I hope you guys don't mind. This is a very slapdash, thrown together day in the corner. I just wanted to turn the camera on after the World Series and say a few things. Among them, I want to say that was one of the best World Series I've ever seen in my life. And a lot of times when people talk about Indian people from India like myself, and particularly Tamil people like myself, South Indians, they comment that we're capable of keeping, opposing opinions in our mind or in our heart, or multiple, opinions that don't necessarily match up in our minds and hearts at the same time. There's ancient philosophies, pre-Christian philosophies that relate to this. I mean, you could look at Chanakya. That's a very good example because of the political dynamics that are described in the Arthashastra. Acharya I'm talking about here, for those of you who know anything about Hindu culture. But what I'm trying to say is I can have appreciation for the Dodgers. Everybody hates me on this site anyway because I hate our media. I'm always complaining about how bad I don't like Xfinity. I don't like all the focus on the dogs and the hats and the babies and the gamer babes, and turning these two old players into big local heroes is something I find they're not good on the air. I want broadcasters to be invisible. You don't see John Miller out doing things. We should have blown up John Miller. The whole way a broadcast worked in the past was one guy does the play-by-play, so he's got the count, right? It's 1 and 2 to Yastrzemski. That's outside. That's 2 and 2 to Yastrzemski. In the dirt, full count now to Yastrzemski. That's really all you need is a guy doing the count. And then they added color. Now, color commentary became players because players play the game. They may have insights, but they also may not have any insights. And the one thing they definitely don't have is broadcast training, like I have, or like John Miller has to the height of heights. And then that just withers the ear and makes the listeners to baseball and the viewers of baseball more like ADHD. And let's look at the doggy. How come when something isn't happening, rather than focusing on the game, talking about the game, camera focused on the field, action, Data that's relevant, not just data from, well, here's a game from back then, and it was important to us because we're Giants. That's fine. I love the Giants. I live in Giants baseball corner. But that is not what loving baseball is to me. Loving baseball is loving the game that's played there. I happen to be a Giants fan and have been for 35 years. Is that right? 7 and 5 is 32. Next year it'll be 35 years, okay, that I've been a Giants fan. Next year it'll be 35 years that I've been a Giants fan. And I love the Giants, but I love baseball. And even now that the game has been changed so much by rules I hate, I never wanted the designated hitter. Never wanted it. The zombie runner is miserable. The pitch clock, I've grown to enjoy the pitch clock. I've understood the tempo. So I have accepted these things. Okay, we're going to have a zombie runner. Okay, we're going to have the DH. Let me watch the game. And the game remains lovable. That's the point. And when the game remains lovable, it's about the play of the game. And the Blue Jays were errorless in the World Series. Errorless in the World Series. Now, they made base running mistakes that they're going to be kicking themselves for the rest of time. But just the phrase, errorless in the World Series, tells you something. And that was the loser. This game had a marathon game. 18 innings, which is 2 games. And it was played within 30 hours. So they played 27 innings in 30 hours in this World Series. And it was a draw. Imagine playing baseball for 27 hours. Imagine playing baseball for 27 innings over a 30-hour period, and the result is 1 game each. That's what happened in this World Series. It went to 7, which I think is a requirement for being among the greatest ever World Series. And the Game 7 was an incredible game. Turned on by a 36-year-old. Reminded me very much of Renteria doing it. Rojas doing it. I watched every inning of the World Series like I do all the time, whether the Giants are in it or not. And that's the kind of fans I want to be here with me in Giants Baseball Corner. I'm sorry that I get angry and I spit at the way everybody else is producing content for the new generation. And I don't mean to sound sexist or racist or, ageist. I just don't want to watch any of that. I don't want to hear your catchphrases and you're just stupid, folksy, pseudo-folksy because you're faking it so hard now because you want to make a catchphrase. And then introducing a guy like Pence, I'm sorry, he's not. So now you're just training them to do it. Look, you got lucky with our Loogie, right? I mean, he's good in the box. But the ones who are bad, there's no amount of having a decent play-by-play man that can cover someone saying such homery things about the team in front of them. Just only the good things about our guys, even if they're lies, outright lies. Well, he's been great at second base. No, I just watched him be very bad at second base for 2.5 weeks. 2 days later, he gets traded. You said openly on the broadcast 3 times, well, he's a real pro at second base. You'll never see that guy make a mistake. Like, no, that's not... The homerism is not part of broadcasting or covering baseball. That's not how you should do that. Nor, in my opinion, should be how you watch the game. You should watch the game and appreciate good play. And if you do that, you got to put this World Series in the top 7. Top 5. Maybe top 5. I moved it from top 7 to top 5. So I'm going to say the World Series in 2025 between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers, whom we refer to here as the Billionaire Bums, which ended in 7 games in favor of Los Angeles in Canada on the road, allowing them to achieve the first team to go back-to-back in the 21st century. Was one of the 5 best World Series of all time. That's my opinion, and that's the opinion of Giants Baseball Corner. I'll be doing some winter stuff, I guess, soon. And hey, well done, bums.